The Nigerian financial sector has seen a rapid adoption of electronic payment channels, particularly retail payment, with attendant risk of fraud incidences on the rise. The Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum (NeFF) is a body formally formed about 12 years ago by the Central Bank of Nigeria, comprising key players in the financial sector such as deposit money banks, payment service providers, regulators, and law enforcement agencies. NeFF aims to enable information exchange and knowledge sharing on fraud issues among stakeholders, with the objective of ensuring a collaborative and proactive approach to tackling and mitigating fraud, limiting occurrences and losses. The body meets periodically, and last Friday, it held the Q3 general meeting for this year in Lagos. We have details of the event in today's package, all after the top stories for this week. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
I see. Just hold on in that case. Let me call out my PIN. It is 4-1.
Uncle, please stop.
Stop what?
You're giving someone else your personal identification number PIN?
Not someone else. It's from my bank.
Please hang up, Uncle. That's a fraudster.
That's not true. But they call out my full name. I am sure this is from my bank.
Uncle, no bank is ever going to call you to ask for your personal identification number PIN, your mobile banking password, or your card verification code, CVC.
But it sounded so genuine.
Yes, hackers and fraudsters always sound genuine. But please, Uncle, don't fall for their bait. Don't respond to any phony emails, text message, SMS, and don't click on any link you're not sure of. Even if they call your date of birth or your BVN, don't give them your security details. If you suspect any issue with your account, please go to your bank.
Oh, I see.
This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Here's the news from the CBN this week. In support of the drive to improve efficiency of the Nigerian foreign exchange market, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced a list of operational mechanisms for the Bureau de Change (BDC) segment of the market. Director, CBN Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. Ozomena Nnaji, in a circular to all Bureau de Change and the general public Thursday, 17th August, said the spread on buying and selling by BDC operators should be within an allowable limit of -2.5% to +2.5% of the Nigerian foreign exchange market window weighted average rate of the previous day. The operational mechanism includes mandatory rendition by BDC operators of the statutory periodic report on the Financial Institution Forex Rendition System (FIFX), which has been upgraded to meet individual operators' requirements. Non-rendition of returns from the date of the circular attracts sanctions, which may include withdrawal of operating license. Operators who do not have any transaction within the period are expected to render nil returns. The circular was misconstrued and wrongly reported by some news outlets and online platforms as indicated that the CBN has resumed sale of Forex to BDC operators. The Financial Services Regulation and Coordinating Committee (FSRCC), in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC), has released a public statement to draw attention to what it described as the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators (IFOs), which portends grave risk to public confidence and stability of the Nigerian financial system. In a statement published on the website of the Central Bank of Nigeria Thursday, 17th August, the FSRCC and NBC advised the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed or illegal financial operators who lure and defraud unsuspecting citizens by offering extraordinary returns on investments as bait. The public is therefore advised to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on the websites of relevant government bodies before investing in them. These government bodies include the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), National Insurance Commission (NICOM), National Pension Commission (PENCOM), and the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC). Furthermore, the public is advised to report any individual or entities suspected to be involved in such nefarious activities to law enforcement agencies and call the telephone numbers now showing on your screen. Key stakeholders in the financial services and telecommunications sectors will come together next month for the 2023 annual conference of the Finance Correspondents Association of Nigeria (FICAN), where issues around Nigeria's payment systems infrastructure will be discussed. The conference, a capacity-building project of the association to elevate the practice of financial journalism, is scheduled to hold in Lagos on Saturday 16th and Sunday 17th of September with the theme Strengthening Digital Infrastructure for Efficient, Innovative Payment System in Nigeria. In a press release on the conference, National Chairman FICAN, Mr. Chima Nwokoji, observed that events of the first quarter of this year revealed the need to ramp up investment in payment system infrastructure in the country to align with emerging global trends. Acting Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Folashodun Adebisi Shonubi, is expected to give the keynote address, while the Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Umar Dambata, Managing Director, Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority, Mr. Aminu Umar Sadiq, and Managing Director, InterSwitch Group, Mr. Mitchell Elegbe, are guest speakers. Welcome back. The Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum (NeFF) on Friday 18th August gathered for its third quarterly meeting for 2023 at the Grand Ballroom of Eco Hotel and Suites Victoria Island, Lagos, under the theme New Strategies for Combating E-Fraud in a Cashless Environment. The stakeholder engagement event was well attended and started right on schedule. Director, CBN Payment Systems Management Department, Mr. Musa Jimo, who is also the chairman of NeFF, in his opening remarks recalled how the body was formed by the Central Bank of Nigeria as a follow-up to its cashless policy initiative meant to push digital financial services to the nooks and crannies of the country. Having realized that as the adoption of digital payment options grew, so also did cyber fraud.
The cyber criminals are always developing techniques by which they can, defraud us. Sometimes they break into the payment infrastructure, but the one that is most prevalent is the social engineering, that they conduct on the innocent individuals. And what do I mean by this? So they send you a text message and tell you that your card has been blocked or you will no longer be able to withdraw from an ATM. And therefore, you need to respond to some questions and all of that. I'm sure everyone, one or two of us, must have had this experience in a week or a month. And for the innocent ones, they fall prey and they provide those information. So we need to we need to sensitize ourselves. We need to share the experience that we all have gathered and the approach to which we can solve, some of these techniques by which we are defrauded. And so the Nigerian Electronic Fraud Forum was given birth to in 2011. And since then, we've been meeting to share information among the banks, among the payment service providers, among other government agencies and all of that. Today, we are here to continue that conversation, to look at new strategies by which we can combat e-fraud. If we don't combat these cyber criminals, they will weigh us down. They will break the entire system, and I can guarantee you that your money will not be safe. So we all need to work together to see how we can make life extremely difficult for the cyber criminals.
Chief executives of the 4 banks which sponsored the third quarter stakeholder forum delivered goodwill messages, while Access Bank, Wema Bank, and Titan Trust Bank managing directors sent their representatives. The managing director of Fidelity Bank, Mrs. Nneka Onyali-Ikpe, who delivered a goodwill message in person, said, as technology continues to advance at an unprecedented pace, reliance on digital transactions has grown exponentially, exposing individuals and businesses to the threat of e-fraud. She said the banking industry lost a total of 14.3 billion naira to electronic fraud last year alone, and 5 billion naira in the first 3 months of this year, according to data from the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, NIBSS.
The problem here is that the trend so far for quarter 1 shows that if this continues unchecked, that it will rise to 20 billion for close of year. The repercussions of e-fraud are not limited to financial losses. They also extend to eroding trust and eroding the brand reputation of the banking industry and financial institutions. There is constantly evolving tactics employed by these cyber criminals, complexity in detecting and preventing intricate e-fraud schemes, escalating customer apprehensions concerning data security and privacy, the need for ongoing technology advancements to outpace these fraudsters, and I'm sure the people in the industry know how much budget we make for cybercrime every year. The need for the high cost of recovery of business and business continuity when there is a business disruption that is fraud-induced. All these issues, I believe that this forum would discuss today, and by the close of business of this deliberation, we would have had deeper insights into the problem, and will also have profiled solutions to mitigate against them.
We know that fraudsters are constantly looking for how to compromise and exploit the financial systems. But the onus is on us as key industry stakeholders to ensure that our platforms and human resources are proactively deployed to monitor, to detect, and to neutralize these potential threats. It is also very important to adopt an integrated approach to fraud management in a cashless environment by incorporating cross-functional teams within the bank into the fraud management value chain. We should conduct regular reviews to check the trend and identify gaps. Indeed, we can only claim to be strong when our weakest links are strong enough to protect our customers and shareholders, which is why a forum like this is very important to remind us of the need to keep up with the trends in e-fraud management.
Events like COVID, the Naira design, have been major influencers of the paradigm shift from cash to electronic or digital payment solutions. Today, Africa, and Nigeria in particular, is one of the world's fastest growing demographics in terms of the young population. And what that means is that we'll continue to see a continuous growth in adoption of electronic payment platforms. Also, in a very competitive environment like ours, where we have fintechs and other players coming on board, challenging banks, and banks are looking to respond to this challenge, there needs to be a balance between convenience and then ensuring that there's safety and protection of customers' funds. Therefore, We must be deliberate in our fight against fraudsters and ensure that we are ahead of them. We cannot lose this war to these fraudsters. Definitely, they are not smarter than us. They are not better than us. But what we need to do more is to collaborate amongst ourselves in this fight.
So as we gather together here today, we stand at the crossroad of technology and security, and our ability to harness our collective intelligence, our power, our technology, our insight, our expertise to combat fraud is very, very important. So the CBN, through the Nigeria E-Fraud Forum, has taken a visionary step by assembling leaders, experts, and stakeholders from across financial sector to deliberate, collaborate, and innovate in the realm of electronic security. I am confident today that this forum will yield a lot of positive outcome that we can put together as a strategy, not just for NeFF, but for the entire banking industry.
Managing Director, Nigeria Interbank Settlement Systems and IBSS, Mr. Premier Oiwo, who was represented at the forum by Mr. Timidayo Adekoye, presented on the current and emerging e-fraud landscape in Nigeria, data analytic, advising stakeholders to focus on the mobile channel being the most significant point of fraud within the industry.
So typical fraud within the industry, this is a typical description of what is going on right now. So you can see 8 billion got moved from one bank and is distributed across 15 banks and 11 microfinance banks. Now, fraud actually reports into the risk management department. So I have clear visibility on exactly what is going on. And from the graph or the representation you can see there, within 5 minutes, quite a number of times, within 5 minutes, quite a number of times, you can see 1 billion move to one bank and get redirected back into the same bank without them actually realizing that it's their money that they're getting back. So we have to be very careful. Now, that money gets distributed to other accounts across other institutions, other financial institutions, but what we see mostly is the fact that the primary channels are the betting platforms. So once the money hits a betting platform or a wallet account, or in some cases POS agents, once it's cashed out, it's a black hole. There is no way you can recover that money. Literally, we're talking about potentially 5% recovery rate across the industry. So we all have to identify those betting wallet accounts, POS agents, cryptocurrency accounts, and in some cases purchases. So quite a number of times you find someone buying a sofa for 6 million naira in one swoop, and he can buy the same sofa within 5 minutes for under 6 million. That's your money leaving the door. Now, for 2024, we're looking at the BNPL, that's the buy now, pay later fraud, as one of the areas we need to be watching out for. Synthetic identity fraud, where people, fraudsters create false identities. We've seen cases within the BVN framework and within some of the data, ICAD data, for example, which is the identity management data, where someone's picture is on the BVN, another person's fingerprint is used, and in some cases, you have the kid representing the father to actually capture his biometrics. And then after this, when the father dies, they say, hey, we need to change it. And I'm like, no, that's not the way it works. So be careful with synthetic identity fraud. Insider fraud, now, if we take anything from this conference today, I would advise that this is the most significant problem we see. There's no way the fraudsters can operate without someone on the inside in most cases. So if it's an elevated level of checks, clearance, security clearance that you require, the insider fraud is the most significant point. You need to check your staff. 2FA is dead. We're now looking at 3FA, biometrics, and other significant ways that you can guarantee that the person that is doing what they're doing are allowed to do it, and you have an audit trail. For those companies that don't have a fraud management solution, we have what we call fraud as a service. That means you can connect to the central fraud management solution, and at a fee, a little fee, just a tiny fee, we can manage your fraud for you. Because this is a significant cost, extremely significant. So I can imagine not everyone can afford to buy a fraud management solution in that sense. What we noticed with fraud is the velocity, the speed at which money moves across the chain. With the link analysis, we will, from NIBS, be able to see the movements. Once you do an NIP, within 5 minutes, we'll see where the money went to. We'll be able to stop transactions within a very short window from our system. Visually represented on screen, on our screen, and we'll be able to handle those issues. So recommendations. I think everyone has spoken to collaboration. I mean, I must confess, sitting in NIBS, I can say generally, honestly, for everyone here, we are really slow. I'm not going to say more than that. Technology and security, we need to invest in security tools, not just for ourselves, but also for the outside. Now, it's a case of, it is not about me, it's about us. You can protect yourself, but what are you doing to protect others? And if you don't protect others, they will get you eventually. I know all the cases because I have all the files. Now, adherence to regulations, there's so many regulations that nobody is actually adhering to. What do we do in those scenarios? I'll leave that to the regulators.
There was also a presentation from the Nigeria Police Force on effective investigation of e-fraud and proposed solutions by Deputy Commissioner of Police Eloha Opoziako, represented by Assistant Superintendent of Police Wina Martins. A guest speaker, Director of Special Projects, British Virgin Island Financial Services Commission, Ms. Simone Martin, made virtual presentation on e-fraud in a cashless environment, trends, threats, emerging typologies, and international standards for regulators, as well as 2 other stakeholder presentations and a panel discussion. High point of the Q3 event was the unveiling of Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum NeFF website. Chairman of NeFF and Director CBN Payment Systems Management Department, Mr. Musa Jimo, counseled individuals and the betting companies.
There are people today that do not know that you don't have to give your card to someone and put the pin and say the person should go and withdraw for you. So enlightenment education, we continue to push it, which is why it's going to be a very long journey. But I know that with the kind of enlightenment and the push by the Bankers Committee and other stakeholders, a lot of Nigerians will be well educated to know that they have to keep all the accounting details very, very, very secret. And therefore, we anticipate that the incidences of fraud will taper down almost to zero. To make payment to a betting, the betting company should seek for the identity of that person, because what is creating this problem is the anonymity that the betting companies grant. So you don't even know who is betting. And so if a fraud happens and you say, report this person or present this person that has done it, then they cannot find out. So identification, ensuring that there is identity management, identity process enshrined in the betting, wallet funding is key to raiding away all these criminals.
That's the package from the CBN this week. Be careful not to fall for any fraudulent recruitment portal or loan scheme advertisements purportedly from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Get your information from trusted sources always. Report unresolved banking issues to the CBN Consumer Protection Department using the email cpd@cbn.gov.ng. Attach relevant documents. Call the CBN Contact Center on the phone line +234 700 2255 226. Local call rates may apply. Write to us through the email address fromthecbn@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter for updates and to watch up-to-date episodes of the program. We invite you to join us again next time. I am William Dada. Stay safe. Bye for now.